Hello, everybody. I am George the Kent Lee, and with me here is Dan Dibbs Gibson.
Hello.
And we're here to do one of the new Fantastic Shaper reveals. Woo!
Yay.
Yay.
I like how now we preface each of these things with that video. So we got me going, I like supports, 100% the best supports all the time. And then this gif of me going like this, which is pretty good. This is how I like to start these things, with you seeing that first, and then us getting into the actual thing.
It's pretty awesome.
It's very good.
Alrighty. So, first things first, if you guys haven't watched us do any of these Shaper reveals before, we're probably going to be doing this from 11 to 12. Save your questions for after we finish showing you guys off all the cool stuff, and then, yeah, let's hop into it. So, if you haven't read already, the lore for this new Shaper is fantastic.
Yes.
Written by Mr. Chris Latois.
Chris Latois.
And there's a very awesome teaser image there. You should go check it out. It's on our forums, probably on Reddit somewhere.
Yep.
Probably also on our Facebook and stuff.
But actually, more than anything, if you have been paying attention very closely to our stream, you've already seen this guy. If you've looked very closely, also if you watch the PAX panel, you've already seen a teaser image of this guy as well. So there's been a lot of tease for this guy already that you guys have seen, but now we can actually get into it and talk about him.
Yep. So, why don't you tell me a little about your goals, going to making this guy?
So this was a group of characters. Let's see, who was in this group? Ashabel, and then Mina, and then this character. Between those two, with the reveals, you guys have seen Kensu, who is part of a different group. But this character in particular, some of the characters had very strong places that they started from in this group. Like Ashabel, we had a really cool art concept from Kindra, and Mina, we had a cool idea about how a support could work. With Viridian, who's this character, you guys know if you've read the lore, we didn't have very much to go off of, both from art and from gameplay, but we knew we had a particular archetype hole that we wanted to fill, which was an assassin hole. Because we have Kindra, we had Ferris, but there's only 2 characters, and a lot of our other groups have 5 or more characters within them. But particularly what we wanted to do was have a physical damage assassin. One of the things that I like to have with a archetype that is more flexible about what kind of damage it is, because generally carries and mages are very, very, they're set on being physical or magic damage because they have to be that way to fulfill their archetype. But things like bruisers and tanks and assassins can be a little bit more flexible with this. So I wanted to make a physical damage assassin, which is a little bit tricky to do because they generally need to have much stronger steroids than your average assassin, because they have to penetrate, everyone scales armor in the game, unlike magic resist. An assassin can a normal assassin like Kindra or Ferris can just vaporize a backlane squishies, but Viridian has to kind of have a particular setup to do it. So this is kind of a larger goal overall. I would like to, and I think that we've done it not poorly, but we're a little bit lacking in the variety of damage types and different archetypes. So I would like to see in the future, and you guys will see coming down the line, not within the next few Shapers, but soon after that, I want to see some diversity in the damage types. So right now, if my team chooses all physical and I have to be the jungler, there's pretty much the only option for me is Volek, or unless I play an assassin. But if we need some beef and I need a jungler, I'll play Volek because he's the only magical damage bruiser. I could play Desecrator in that case, but again, Desecrator is the only magical damage tank. So going forward and starting with this guy, you'll see a little bit more diversity within the archetypes about what kind of damage you can do, so that you're not so pigeonholed into playing a particular character depending on what your teammates have chosen. Mm-hmm. So that was the ask. To boil that all down, the ask was physical damage assassin, and we gave the concept over to Will Coiner, Big Friday, you guys know, and we just said, go with that. So he actually revved for a while and had a lot of different directions, which we'll show you in the future, but what we ended up with was Viridian as we know him. So I think we can pop over to the render.
All right.
And show.
So without further ado, I give you Viridian. Ooh. He's supposed to say something. He did not say something. Let's try that again. Oh, did I mute it?
So muted? Oh man, amateur hour over here.
I must have messed up somewhere. It's not going. Please. Oh, well, I'll just play it again.
All right.
Boom. Where is that?
Enjoy the celebration. I
There you
have
go.
work to do.
So, he sounds pretty assassinated to me.
Yeah, he sounds like a total badass. I really like the way that his voice came out. he says a lot of really cool stuff. Okay, so so something to note here. So Will Coiner, Big Friday, did the concept for this character. It ended up being very, very cool. And Pat Morrison, VGFX, did the model for this character. But we kind of had something we had something different happen during this phase when we were at the ready for the player-facing render. Will was actually like really excited about this character, so he was like, I want to do this. So this is actually the first time that Will did a paint over on this render front end, so it looks super nice. So that's something cool to note out, and good job, Will. It looks super cool.
Also, if you guys are wondering, this VO work was done by Mark Hansen. Very awesome. So thank you to him.
Yep. Very, very cool. It's something. It's funny. We'll get into this later, and I want to hear what you guys think. We were at a meeting, the first meeting that we had, where we actually had his VO, and someone said that he sounds like Peter Baelish from Game of Thrones, and I was kind of like, maybe. But I'm not entirely sure. But he does sound super cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the concept, so we can kind of take you guys through the process of getting to Viridian. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. So can I zoom and drive? Yep. Okay, I like to zoom.
You can do whatever you like.
So we started up in kind of this area right here. So when we asked Will for physical damage assassin, he kind of went with this kind of human-looking character and was kind of working on this overall scythe theme. So this is kind of an issue that happens sometimes when we do concepts, which it actually happens quite a bit. We get into a set of characters, and just looking at them, I always get the feeling that I'm looking at more of an NPC than I am looking at like the main hero of a game. You know, kind of like, yeah, that looks like a bad guy that I might play against, but not someone that I'd play as. So we gave this feedback to Will, and he kind of decided to brainstorm a little bit and ask around what he thought would be a cool idea for a physical damage assassin. And I think that him and Hunter got together, and Hunter suggested that we attempt to enrich one of the earlier areas of our game, one of the other zones, kind of add a new character to them to allow us to delve deeper into that lore, into that area. So what he suggested was that we do one from the Shorewind tribe. So the Shorewind tribe, of course, includes Cerulean and Amaranth. I think we've said that. They haven't been in the...
I think Amaranth was in the lore.
Right. Yeah, that's true. She was in the lore, but they're both from the Shorewind tribe, a group of people that start off relatively humanoid, but as they kind of grow up, they are cursed, and they have different things happen to them depending on what their curse is. So we started doing this exploration of this more fishy Shorewind assassin kind of a guy, which is what his internal name became for a very long time, the Shorewind Assassin. So you can see here kind of what became Viridian, but these are kind of the early sketches. Okay, so I just go right here.
Yep. Boom.
Okay, so this was the next step. This was getting much closer to where Viridian ended up, obviously on the left here, very, very close. We tried a lot of different stances, a lot of different overall sets of armor for him that we thought would be really neat, but we were still looking for, I think, Will was still wondering, what does this guy do? You know, what is his role within the Shorewind tribe? And him and Chris Latois got together, and they said that he was going to be some kind of like deep sea whale hunter, someone that could dive super deep into the ocean, kill a whale. I think he actually crawls inside of it and stabs its heart, and then floats up with it to give to the Shorewind tribe as kind of a food source, as well as blubber and oil and all that stuff. So he is overall his role as a whale hunter, and that ended up kind of informing this larger weapon that he has here, as well as missing from this concept, which will be in the next one, which is his little tiny bone knives, which he uses to kind of gut open the whale. So let's go ahead and go to the last one here. So this is the finished concept. So you actually notice, if you're watching the subreddit as well as the PAX stream, that this is the concept that we teased at PAX, but this is kind of the full concept that we have. We had, maybe it's in the last one, some ideas of like different stancing for him. And we also had the idea that his weapons could come apart. So you'll notice that in this concept, his weapon is whole, but in the render, his weapon is apart. You'll see how that kind of plays out in the kit. But there's a lot of nice details here. He's actually got a mouth underneath that mask. The mask is actually more like carapace that he can actually extend out and close over his face. He's got these nice tentacles as well as these spines. Really beautiful concept. I really like this concept a lot. And
yep, looks pretty fantastic.
That's it. It looks great.
Want me to talk a little about the kit, I guess? So
yeah, we can go back to the render.
Boom. Render.
Cool. Alrighty. So the goals for the kit. So it was actually, this is one of the more, I want to say it's one of the more simple kits that I've designed, but it's actually, it's very difficult to master. The goal is simple. So the goal for the character was do as much physical damage to a single target as humanly possible. So like that kind of sound right. That kind of sounds like that's the goal for every assassin, right? Do as much damage as possible, really kill that one target. But like if you think about it, Kindra does a ton of AoE damage. Literally almost every ability she has besides her E is completely AoE damage. If she can get in a team and somehow survive on all 5, she can end up doing a really, really huge amount of AoE damage. And Ferris is kind of half and half. If you're in Blade form on Ferris, he's got a lot of single target burst, but his E is AoE, his ultimate often ends up being AoE. So I really wanted to just laser focus on massive single target damage. So like I said before, doing that with a physical assassin is pretty tricky because without a particular steroid, without conditional steroids, a character's base values would have to be very, very, very high for the assassin roll to be very correct. So another part that is very important on Viridian is how he does his damage is very conditional. He has to set up for his damage. There's actually 2 separate ways that he sets up for his damage. If he can set both those up perfectly, he can do a really, really tremendous amount of damage. That was the goal going out, and that was what we nailed on every single time. We had a lot of opportunities where it was like, well, you know, I think this could do AoE damage, or like this could do pass-through damage. And even what we had in the beginning kit, we removed all those elements. We were like, this doesn't need pass-through damage, this doesn't need AoE damage. Let's take all these bits off, focus on that super, super heavy physical damage to a single target, and just go at that. So that was the overall goal. It was pretty simple, but it ended up being really fun, and it ended up making a character that felt really... He takes a lot of skill to play, but the rewards are really, really high-end. So I think that's it. I mean, it was really, really simple goals, but ended up being an interesting way to get it done.
Yep. All right. Guess we could hop in the game now and kind of show you guys off what he actually does.
That's
so
true.
let me swap to like big camera. Well, actually, this should not.
Go ahead and start. Yeah, actually,
fine.
no, it's not fine. Yeah,
It's fine.
Okay, don't swap to game.
Okay, not in game cam, and we will turn on the sound.
Cool.
Boom.
All right, go ahead and pick them.
All right.
Got to get past this shaper select screen with all those secrets.
All these shaper select things.
Yep. All right, can I get?
You guys
something
can't see that.
with no power on. I'll just choose level 5 with nothing.
All right. You got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing. Baseline is nice. So there's something else that we kind of hadn't mentioned yet, which is there's actually... So we showed some concepts. We also showed the model in the render. There's more concepts and more model than that.
Afterwards.
But we're not showing. You'll see in the kit that it's very delightful, and we can show some of the art for it afterwards. But there was more work to this guy than just his base concept and model.
So basically... But wait. There's more.
No, wait. There's more.
There's always more.
Yep. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and let's get past this. And
You can have a lantern.
I don't. I guess Sentinel's Oath, and I'll just do. Okay. Okay, cool. So shall I scoot in and
You can take over.
All right, cool.
And we have to hit game cam as soon as it loads in.
Okay, cool.
So boop, game cam.
Tab out. Game cam.
We're good.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and scoot in a little closer.
I will scoot out.
Alrighty. So we'll do the normal bits here. Cheats are on. Thanks, Pluto. So this is Viridian's in-game model. He looks very cool. He's got a cool walk. He looks like a badass, and he looks like he's going to kill you, which is the appropriate look.
That's pretty much what an assassin does.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and buy my usual bit, which is exactly 100 power and some pen, so you guys can get a glimpse of his ratios. So I'll walk out here and do spellbook. Also okay to show. Thanks, Pluto. He's so good. He knows. He knows where I'm going to make mistakes, and he makes sure that I should or should not make them. Okay, so let's go ahead and do... Can you guys hear his voice okay? I think you probably can. So I'm going to do his flirt first.
I know the hearts of whales better than my own.
You should probably do that again.
God, come on, announcer.
Call me if you need me. I'll be near, but not too near.
But not too near. He's very... he's really like a loner type for sure. All right, let's do a joke.
A merchant prince asked how I monetize whales. I cut him.
And then a taunt.
You're just meat. Don't think whales talk.
Oh, and then let's do a laugh.
I get it.
He doesn't laugh. He doesn't laugh. He's one of those characters. Haha, so funny. This is going to be one of those times like Mina where I'm not going to show his dance. You'll get to see that later because hashtag spoilers.
Pretty much.
So I'm going to teleport over here to where my friends presumably are at. There they are. Okay, so, and I'm also going to do a particular leveling strategy. So I'm only going to level up his W and his E. I had a dream last night. This is what happens. This is the stress. I had a dream last night that I leveled up his R and I fat fingered it. And we were like, oh, well, so
that's ruined everything.
Right, so no R, no Q yet, only because I'm afraid I'm going to fat finger the R. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the kit. So Viridian is a melee assassin. He has a melee physical basic attack. He's got a very, very cool basic attack cycle right there. Viridian is a rage shaper. So he, like Freya, uses rage to enhance his abilities, but not as a casting cost. His passive is adrenal glands. As any time that Viridian loses, either through degen or through casting cost, his rage, he'll actually heal for a bit. So I'll do some damage to myself here. You'll see after a few seconds, my rage starts to go down. I start to heal. It's a pretty tiny amount, but you can see my health starting to rise here at the bottom. So this allows him some sustain in situations like, you know, I'm moving in for a gank, or I'm moving between jungle camps as I jungle.
Or if you're laning, you're like...
Or to lane, of course. Laning, it's more used in the casting cost of his abilities, but this little degen right here gives him some nice health between jungle camps. So I'm going to go ahead and... So remember that is anytime that it's degen or spent, per point of rage, I heal. That also has... That not only scales with my level, but also scales with my overall power. So I'm going to go ahead and level up my Q ability. As soon as I level up my Q ability, Viridian gains one of the bone knives on his hip. After a few seconds, I will gain another bone knife. So I now have 2 bone knives. Viridian, hello. Viridian generates bone knives over time and may carry up to 2 bone knives. Immediately upon putting a point into Q, he gains 1 bone knife, and then it has about an 8-second generation rate at all ranks. That generation rate will increase with cooldown reduction and haste. So the way that the bone knives work is that as I get close to an enemy, I will automatically target them to be a target of bone knife. Pressing Q will throw a bone knife at them, dealing physical damage and doing 2 different things to them. It will immediately put this little shark tooth above their head, which means that Viridian does percentage increased damage to them from all sources. So you see that my basic attacks here deal 101. If I use my Q, they're now dealing 116. That's about a 15% increase to all of my damage, obviously including my basic attacks. The other thing that it does is it sticks a knife in them. This large knife, as well as this tiny red spinny disc, is what represents that they have a knife in them. As long as they have a knife in them, I cannot throw another knife into them. So I press Q here. If I attempt to press Q again, it will instead target Reyna, because both of these targets are now ineligible to take another knife to the face. So you'll kind of see what this means later on. It should be noted that this debuff right here, this shark tooth that increases my damage by a percentage, can stack up to twice. But obviously with just the Q and having that knife in them, I can't do it. Oh, there we go, Parasite. I cannot do that just by using my Q ability. You'll see how that works as we go on. So Viridian's W is Surge. Viridian dashes in target direction and gains increased move speed for a certain amount of time, for about 4 seconds. While that is active, Viridian's next basic attack does bonus damage and allows him to recast Surge, dashing again and gaining increased move speed again. Surge also resets Viridian's basic attack cooldown, so if I surge forward, attack, surge again, attack, I'll actually be able to attack very quickly within a certain amount of time with a lot of increased power. You see that my basics are doing 101, while my increased surge basic is doing 290, which is a really, really significant increase. So this is kind of what allows Viridian to make plays. This is his high mobility as well as his chase potential. A long-range dash, or relatively long-range dash, as well as this move speed allows him to chase people very well, but he cannot dash again unless he gets that basic attack off. The ability will go on cooldown if I do not get the second basic attack off. It should be noted that Surge does not go over walls. It will attempt to slide across walls like we do with Moya or Michaela, but it will not actually go through a wall. So this is kind of a very important ability for Viridian's overall DPS. This allows him to deal a lot of damage with his basic attacks, get resets very strong, but additionally allows him to kind of move into position to perform his full combo, which I'll get to in a second. There's one other thing I wanted to say about it. Oh yeah, also Viridian can short this dash, so he can dash max distance. He can also dash a short range if he wants to. So I can dash into Michaela, do a strike. I can dash right next to her again to immediately get that auto attack reset, do that basic damage again. If I'm looking to really burst down a target and I don't care about long range positioning, I can just dash a short distance, stab them again, and do a lot of damage. Additionally, I could dash between this target and then this target, get both, and then get to safety or get to a more juicy target, whatever I want to do. Okay, so Viridian's E is Heart Strike. Viridian deals a tremendous amount of physical damage to a target, consumes all of his rage to deal bonus damage based on the amount of rage spent. So Heart Strike has a base value, right now it's 175 plus 75 in power, but up to 265 physical damage based on rage. If I have a full rage bar, which I'll just cheat and get it, you'll see that my E does 368 alone, just base 368. It then consumes all my rage. So again, let's say that I have lower health and I E Pluto here. I will get healed for 376 because it consumed all my rage. My passive allows me to heal per point of rage spent. This gives me a really, really big burst heal if I have the rage to use it. The other part about Heart Strike is that if the target is affected by Bone Knife, it'll actually remove that knife, allowing me to recast it again and putting that knife back in my inventory. So that target becomes unknifed, but they still have the debuff that's increasing their percentage damage, allowing me to knife them again and double that percentage damage increase. So this allows Viridian to have a super brutal main combo. If I Q, E, Q, W, W, now my Ws are not doing 290, they're doing 378 per basic twice. So super, super, super strong combo. But it requires a lot of finesse to kind of pull off. Doing that Q, E, Q when there's a target just standing still, relatively easy. But I might need to blow my mobility early. So I might need to Q them, dash forward, E, Q, W, W.
Still, it's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard. It's a hard combo. It's a combo kind of worth mastering, but these conditionals allow him to do a ton of damage. Adding these kind of like, his E does good damage, but under these certain circumstances does really good damage, allows a character to have really, really high ends if you can play him correctly. So this is kind of the fun of Viridian, is using that Q, using that E, using that W, and then attempting to do as much damage as you can before that debuff wears off. So we can get into
the ultimate.
So I'm going to level it up.
This is fine.
No fat finger. I'm going to click it.
Good idea.
I'm telling you. Okay. So his ultimate is called Deep Rising. Viridian targets a direction, and he summons a giant whale in that direction, charging forward and impaling the first target that he hits. So Viridian will impale that target, dealing physical damage and dragging them with him. If Viridian hits another target, that target takes no damage and is simply bumped away. So this is still, even though it's very, very large ability and has an AoE effect, still single target damage, and is effectively part of his entire nuke combo. The target has to be hit within the relative center of that whale's nose. If I'm a little bit off, I will not spear them. They will simply get knocked away. So be careful when casting the ultimate. You definitely want to hit people as close to center as possible to be able to deal that damage and drag them along with you. If I cast this... Oh, I want Parasite this time. I can take characters over walls with this ability. So this makes it for a really, really, really effective assassination tool. I can take characters over wall and then use my full combo on them. If I'm able to get my full combo off before I even use my ultimate, say I do my Q, E, Q, and then R, it deals nearly 500 damage and pushes the character a great distance. Ooh, I killed him. But additionally, things like Viridian's double mobility on his W, casting a W here, casting over here, and then going backwards can allow you to push a character. You can get behind a character, push them back into your team if you're fast enough. So, push over a wall. Now I just assassinate Pluto over here, away from the rest of his team. Oh, he teleported. Goodbye.
Well, let's come back.
Yep. So Deep Rising is very, very powerful ability. It even has kind of a little bit of team-wide disruption. That knockback from missing the ability or from hitting characters on the side, it's not great, but it's still pretty significant. Being able to just slightly disrupt a team as you take their squishiest, hopefully their squishiest member over a wall to murder, it can be really, really, really powerful. So that's his full kit. Viridian has really, with Deep Rising, he has really, really, really great engaged distance. So from anywhere in the map, he has at least an unconditional 1,500 worth of range to get in and start doing his assassination. Of course, he has to use his ultimate effectively to do that, and it can be difficult if you're attempting to use that to engage. You might hit a target and not push them very far because you got them at the very end of the dash. But it can often... One of the problems that assassins can have is making sure they get on a target. If Kindra or Ferris cannot get on a target and they blow their high mobility that's on their core kit, like Viridian has on his W, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and he's not going to be able to kill the target effectively. But because he has a pretty powerful 1500 range initiation, it's not really a problem as long as you use all of his abilities effectively. There we go. Pluto's dead.
We killed Pluto, and he's just like,
that's the dream.
he's just dead.
So that's overall Viridian's kit. Again, focus 100% on single target damage. He has literally no AoE damage. Using both his Rage and his Bow Knife as conditionals, he can end up doing a really, really, really huge amount of damage with his full combo if he can perform it correctly. Makes him a really fun character to play, but also like terrifying at the high end. Like there's it's like one of those rules that we have where it's like, you know, Jesus, Moxie Garan, we're basically like, you know, you're not allowed to play test because it's too brutal.
He kept killing me. It was really sad. I'd be like sitting from a binding, and he'd come up from behind me and just like ult me into the team. I'd be like, oh, sad day.
Yep. So I think that's it for his base kit. Well, let's do the dance, because so now we see the dance. So now he's got this incredible super whale dance. Can't show that dance off before you see the ultimate.
Yep. It's pretty fantastic. So you're telling me about how with the Viridian's kit, you wanted a shaper that was really, really good at one thing, similar to Volek, get in, kill one guy, and get out. So is that something you want to continue in the future?
Yeah, it's something that's fun to do. It's like there's some characters who have a lot of different things that they can do, and they end up feeling they're good at all of them, but they're not great at any of them, right? It's like the jack of all trades, master of none kind of a thing. One of the things that I think Volek is really good at is just tons of damage, as well as you know, he's got the regenerative capabilities, but compare him to a lot of other bruisers, right? Cerulean, less damage, but he's got all these different things he can do. He's got a long range engage, he's got good AoE slow, he's got the flip, he's got a lot of defenses. So while Cerulean is good all around, Volek is good in very specific situation where you want to WQ someone and kill them instantly. So this is what I really wanted to do with Viridian, was make him that laser focus on single target physical damage assassination, which allows his abilities to be very, very good. He's very, I would assume that he is probably the highest single target damage burst in the entire game. So the percentage increase affecting everything that he has makes him very, very powerful. And just that focus, that conditional focus on doing that physical damage just makes him just really, really, really good at it. It's not something that it's something that's fun to do every once in a while, but you don't want all the characters to feel like this. I feel like Viridian is more niche. He's a very high skill cap character with a lot of damage, but a character like, you know, Cerulean, I think, is more approachable to the average player. So you want to definitely have a mix, but it's very fun to do a character like this because of how much you can just focus on that one goal and not have to be like, you know, I guess he's got a slow and all these other things. So it's something that we'll want to go back and forth on all the time. We want characters in each archetype that kind of vex, right? Just like late game, right click to win, W and R, and just like hands off the keyboard, hope you don't get killed, right?
Pretty much.
And that's really fun, and it's really, really effective. It lets a character be very, very effective. When you have to balance things, you know, this character is a slow, and I guess they have a stun, and they got high mobility, and they got blah, 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 blah. You have to kind of take down all their other numbers to allow for that, but Viridian, all he's kind of packing is damage and mobility.
So about like spells, what would you recommend?
So I'm pretty bad. So I guess what we'd say is so he can be played. We've seen him played both Gladiator and Hunter. So he's a pretty good Gladiator in lane, especially when he has a lane combo character with someone that can stun. So if you're in a situation like that, you might be looking at something like your Blitz or your Dispel to make sure that you can get in on an enemy very quickly. A Drain is also very good for him. You might take Blink if you're looking to get the kind of Blink behind them and then ult backwards. It could be useful in a lot of other situations too, of course. I wouldn't look so much in things like Stasis or Deflector, you know, Tailwind. Tailwind might be okay. If I'm starting Hunter, I would like to take Vanquish probably to start. His Hunter is actually a little bit slow to start. even though it has that nice healing to kind of keep him a little bit more healthy than most junglers, because he requires his full... He needs QEQ to even reset his knives, and then his W adds a lot of damage as well, so it actually takes him until about level 3 to start being very effective in the jungle, which is the same for a lot of characters, but he won't be as effective as a character like Volek, who's very, very good jungler, or Petrus, who can start with his E, very, very good jungle ability.
Yep, plus he has no AoE, so not too
no
fast.
No AoE clear, but good single target damage, good for taking down money pigs, good for taking down the big jungle buffs.
How about builds? Like, I've seen some pretty crazy builds, like Jesus did that one tank Viridian build, which was pretty tough to deal with.
Right, tank Viridian is pretty good. But I really like to rest on the fact that he's getting a 30% increase when he double stacks his knife toss. So one of the things that we really, really like on him is Conquest. So this is pretty obvious, right? You dash him with your W ability. I mean, it's super brutal. Like, it'll just, if you crit that and you get that Conquest proc off on a QEQ target, one that already has double stacks of knife toss, they're going to take... I mean, I've seen some ridiculous numbers where I have to go like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. But then we look back, we're like, oh man, it is right. You know, it's like super powerful. So Conquest is a really, really great pickup on him. Better than, say, Ruin, because he's going to get, he's going to be guaranteed more like 1 or 2 basic attacks than more than that. So Passion's very good too. Anyone who has very powerful, and this kind of goes with Divinity as well, anyone that has really, really good base values on their abilities or can do a ton of damage with their abilities wants to pick up things like Passion and Divinity. His E, when fully stacked with Rage and after using a Q ability, does a ton of damage. So he's getting these two things will not only heal him a lot, will also cause his abilities to overload for even more, and it's really, really effective on a character like this.
So he'll basically hit like a truck.
Yeah, he will hit like a truck. This combo right here, he'll hit like a truck, and not only that, he'll additionally have some armor, additional life drain. His abilities will heal for more. When he hits that E ability, not only is it healing him because of Adrenal Glands, his passive, it's also healing him because of his base values. It's going to heal you quite a bit. It's very, very powerful. We've seen like a dual really low health Viridian and like a full health Petrus, and we were all sitting there. Everyone else was dead, and we're all just watching this duel happen, and it was like, at some point in time, you're like, oh my god, Viridian's going to win this duel. Oh yeah,
you might want to save the base real quick. The minions are slowly going in.
Okay.
Alright.
I didn't talk about the Q's targeting parameters quite yet, so let me finish the build thing and I'll go back to that.
Alrighty.
So Rage, of course, always very good, especially if they're building against you. Adamance is good too. He's often taking damage, so getting that power and armor is pretty powerful. Subjugation can be powerful. It's anyone who's a duelist is a very good person to buy Subjugation on, and Defiance is good as well. Allows him to get his dash back up, allows him to Heart Strike again if he needs to get the healing. So a detail I completely forgot: the way that his Q targets. So the Q will always target the closest target to Viridian, but first prioritizing Shapers, and before all of that, prioritizing the last target that Viridian basic attacked. So this is a relatively complicated targeting mechanic, but if you're in a fight with, like, say, Reyna and a whole bunch of minions, it'll always target Reyna over the minions. See, in this situation right here, I'm closer to this nub. As I get away and Reyna gets out of range, it will retarget the nub instead. If I attack Reyna, or let's see, if I attack this nub, it'll always target that nub for 2 seconds, and then it'll switch back to Reyna. So the last target that you basic attacked will become the target of your Q for 2 seconds, and then after that, it prioritizes Shapers and minions. Having an automatic targeting system is something that we have to do very, very carefully, because before we had some of the conditionals on this ability, it could feel bad in circumstances where you're like, that didn't work the way that I wanted to. So we wanted to make sure we gave you agency over it, but it's also an ability we need you to spam very quickly without potentially worrying about what your target is, or if you're in a duel scenario. So we wanted to give it this automatic targeting sequence, especially because you have the 2 cast, do this, do that. I don't have to worry about where my target is. I just have to, use my Q ability. There's good job, Pluto. Pro strats. So that's how the Q targeting works. I should have mentioned that with the beginning. So when fighting a jungle, generally I would be targeting the snub, but I can just attack that, and then I can know that all my basic attacks, all my Qs are going to hit the big blue buff instead of one of. That would be very sad if you wasted a knife on one of those little nubs.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, so I personally don't play too many assassins, but let's say I was playing like a tactician. How would I want to go helping out Viridian?
So I really like tacticians that can setup for his base combo. So like I said, it's difficult to pull off. He's going to be a character that requires mastery of the game, not mastery of the stat. So I really like a character that can set up for him. I really like Renzo if you're going to play in lane with him, because Renzo has a 1.5 second stun, as well as, if it's inspired, a armor shred. So like if you get that armor shred off and then he comes in, gets % damage increase from all of Viridian's abilities, oh my god, it's going to be super brutal. He's going to be doing more than true damage against you, most likely, depending on if Renzo's ranking up that E. And then additionally on top of that, he's going to be doing percentage increased damage. It's going to be like, you know,
kind of ridiculous.
It's going to be ridiculous. You're going to get completely destroyed. So I like characters that can set up for that combo. The tanks are good as well. People like Reyna, Keller, Desecrator would be good lane combo as well. I don't think I would take Dibs as often. I don't think I would take Zeri as often. Mina is definitely a good combo. That's one of those things that
you can both ride the whale.
Right. Both ride the whale. Both get that W mobility. Anyone who can, you know, go in with him, give him damage increase and DR from her Q and her E, and then give him that 0.75 second fear. I mean, that's super brutal. Very, very good choice. Additionally, her ultimate is percentage increased damage on top of his Q, which is percentage increased damage. It's so brutal. Super brutal.
You'll basically like one-shot everyone.
Right. So Mina, as always, a really good partner with him. Additionally, he, like I said, he can jungle. He's a little bit slow to start, but he gets up there very quickly. And he's also a really good ganker, because he does so much damage. But you know, some gankers bring mobility. Some gankers bring CC, which allows them to kind of finish the gank. You want to make sure that you are ganking a lane that has the ability to set up for your mobility. So you want someone, even ganking a lane that has something like Renzo in it, you know, they set up for the stun, you W in, ult them where you want them to be, and then just assassinate them in the right spot. So it's important to think about, because of his lack of CC besides his ultimate, which can be difficult to use, you don't want to ult them as they run away from their tower, because you'll end up underneath the binding, you'll get yourself killed. So it's a little bit more conditional. You want to make sure that you can gank a lane that is setting up for it.
This air is sweet.
Sounds pretty good.
Yep.
So how do you counter this guy?
Okay, so with every assassin, right, CC is what is going to get him. If you can stun him, or if you can silence him, he's not going to be able to cast his R. He's not going to be able to cast his W. Additionally, while he's un-CCable during his ultimate, like Kel, like Moya, any ultimate level dashes are immovable. They cannot be CC during them. He cannot cast his W or his R if he's rooted. So look for Viridian coming in. If you have a root like you have Salus, or you have Desecrator, if you have a silence like Zeri, or if you have a stun like Renzo, look to stun him. He generally can't afford to build too much mitigation. He can, but then his damage is going to go down. He's going to be kind of tank assassin, which you can mostly ignore. If you can just stun him and stop him from moving, stop him from casting his E to heal himself, stop him from recasting his W to get away, you can just burst him down and kill him pretty quickly. You got to watch out. You know, most Viridians will attempt to engage once they see those things be blown. Like a good assassin will kind of like wait on the side. They'll play an assassin role. They'll wait on the side, you know, until the team fight actually starts. Then he'll move in and eat a squishy up after they've used their mobility, or after their tanks or Peel has used their CC. So always, you know, oh, you guys need to save your base.
Quick, Brad.
Do it, Brad. Do it. Good job. Always be, you know, cognizant of where the Viridian is and what you want to save to use them. Additionally, as with any assassin, if you don't have any of those things, simply buy a Wither, and Wither is very, very effective against him.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I think Brad wanted to like kill us once.
Oh yeah, let's kill him to see the death animation. Oh God!
Oh, brutal. So sad.
Cheat kill.
So, yep, there's dead Viridian.
I'll cheat kill Brad.
For good measure, right?
It's those dev hacks. It's like, how did Zaken get so high in that leaderboard? Oh, that control cake cheat. Okay, cool. I think that is it. So I think we can move to...
Show off the whale concept.
Oh, yeah, let's show off the whale concept for sure.
Let's do that. Let's hop that game first.
Well, let's sit in the game in case I need to QA anything in the game. Can we show it on top of it somehow?
We can.
Okay, cool.
1 second. Boom. And we have a whale.
Yeah, there it is. So we wanted it to be we had an interesting idea. I remember Pat VGFX, the modeler for this, he came over and he's like, what can this guy do? He needs to do something super cool. He's like a cool fish guy. He needs to have some cool fish stuff. And we all sat there, And this was before the Ultimate ever existed. And we were just like, you know, what if he like summons these whales that he kills? And we were like, well, you know, there's like a question of like, well, wait, is he summoning it out of the ground or the Dawn Gate? That like doesn't really make any sense. So we were like, let's make it like this like weird spirit whale or something like this. So it's fictionally, it is Viridian is manifesting it with his spirit. You know, all shapers are at their core, even regardless of how physical they are magical beings. They have magic essentially. So he is manifesting one of these whales. It's smaller than your average one because most of them would be very, very large, but he's kind of summoning this magical whale. So we started doing these concepts that were kind of obviously different from a normal whale, and they kind of had a weird vibe to them that was pretty neat. So I think we have, yeah, there's the finished one as well as the concept in game. It's something that I teased a few days ago on someone's stream, maybe Money Pigs, which was we originally used the Amaranth W swordfish model for this. So it was like this giant like fish that just like translated across the screen, so to get the right size and feel of it. But this was the finished concept, which ended up being very, very cool, and ended up looking very cool in game 2. I think that's it.
Alrighty, yep. I think that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions, put Q and a colon in front of your question, and we'll try answering everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and before anyone asks, you cannot W over a wall.
You cannot W over a wall.
Just,
sorry.
Just saying.
Bonk.
Aww.
Sorry, Viridian.
Sad day.
Okay, so what happens if two Viridians ult at each other? So like I said, Viridians are immovable while ulting. They will not hit each other. They will not apply the charge debuff.
They'll pass by each other in the night.
Oh, Pluto wants to try it. He wants to put my words to test. Oh god. Okay, hopefully I'm right. Okay, you have your ultimate? Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3, go. So double immunes pop up all over here. We did deal the damage, but we were both in God mode. So
no damage.
There you go. Immovable. Immune to their ultimates. Can you ult over a wall? You absolutely can. Can I show the abilities again? You have to watch the VOD. I'm sorry. Will you give him a six-pack because he looks a little fat? What are you talking about? He's ripped. Are you making a joke? Look at that six-pack.
He's pretty ripped.
You gotta model that six-pack in. Whoa.
There is a whale. You should just both dance.
Okay. Can people see his Q mark when he's in brush?
I don't think other people can see
I'm
it.
sorry. No one can see his Q mark. That Q right here, that is only for Viridian to see. Other people do not see the Q mark dancing around to other targets.
Might want to extend the window a little bit.
Which window?
Just like stretch it down.
Yeah.
People are asking a lot of questions. Oh. Boom. Ta-da!
Okay. Does his W proc Conquest twice? It will not because of Conquest's cooldown. You would be able to if it didn't, but it does not. Base is being destroyed. Oh my god.
Holy cow.
This is the challenge.
You should probably kill the next few waves too.
Yeah.
There it is.
What kind of questions we got over there?
People are confused if his Q hits minions.
It does totally hit minions, but it will prioritize Shaper. So I can go here, I can attack his minion, Q him, E him, Q him, W, and destroy that.
He's basically assassinating minions now.
Right, and basically assassinating minions.
Haste ratio.
His haste ratio is the same as all boop boop boop. Yes.
Boom.
So it's 0.6 for abilities. It's only 0.3 for his basic attack. So like all other assassins, he gets a lot of cooldown reduction. He gets some attack speed, but not a super large amount. Luckily, he's got his double basic attack reset, so he doesn't need a tremendous amount.
Does his Q increase his vanquish damage?
I believe that it does.
You can go test that right now.
Let's test it. Money pigs. Okay. Oh wait. Okay.
You should go check how much vanquish does.
900.
Okay.
Okay. Let me QEQ once this QEQ.
There you go.
1035.
So that means you can out vanquish everyone.
That's right. Oh man, so OP.
Do you think that the instant massive AoE that vaporizes minions will be a little OP? Nah.
Instant massive AoE? What are you talking about? He's got him AoE.
Stop trolling us, Laments.
Yeah, I know. God.
Does he have any banter with shapers that are not from the Shorewind?
So I don't know. Waystone Dandelion has to ask me because he will have banter with Cerulean and Amaranth when we can get those voice actors back in. But I don't know if he has anyone outside of Shorewind at the moment.
Can you stasis while being impaled to dispel it? So
no, because you're stunned. So you cannot vanquish while, or you cannot You cannot do that while stunned.
Can you dispel it?
Yes, you can.
Mm.
All right, Pluto, you need to dispel my ultimate while you're being ulted.
So green.
Are you ready? You need to dispel my ult while being ulted. You ready? Oh, interesting. All right, maybe he...
Maybe a little bit further away from him.
No. Ripple.
Oh, let me cooldowns. Maybe you cannot.
Do it one more time. I'll just spam.
Okay.
Nope.
So it
that's
looks
not.
like it's the forced movement. It's like the Petrus ult where actually you cannot. I assume that Blitz will work. Blitz. Yep. So
Okay, Blitz will work.
Blitz will work.
Dispel will not.
Dispel will not. Forced movement. Is his R physical damage rather magic? He's 100% physical damage. Every single thing that he does is physical damage. He's a brutal guy and does physical.
Does his Q give vision on his target?
It does not. So if he walks out of range of his Q, he will lose vision.
Oh no! He's disappearing.
Yep.
Any more taunts or jokes with the whale? Other than the dance?
Just the dance, and
Just
that's
the
it.
dance. Ability scalings.
So his ability scaling is pretty good. It has to kind of take into account that he could have 30% increased damage. So he's got a 0.55 on his bone knives, which is he can cast twice. He has a 0.6, again, cast twice. Really, really huge base damage on his W. Oh my god, my base again?
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Well, we just lost the game.
GG. I think he's got a 0.75 on his E as well as a 0.75 on his R, so very, very strong. I'd have to check again on those. Oh, god, so bad.
Let's just go to the big cam, I guess.
Yep.
Big cam. Boom. Alrighty. If an enemy is in an unwarded bush, will the Q light it up?
If the enemy is in an unwarded bush, no, you cannot see characters who are in... you have to have vision of the character to actually be targeting him with your Q.
GG.
I got defeated.
Viridian
underpowered, please buff.
Seriously. Do you think Viridian and Moya would get along?
Yeah, I think that they probably would.
You got Otter Eel Dude and...
Right, and she's kind of like a loner of her own as well. No other otters in the game.
When can we expect to play the Shaper?
So soon. So soon.
So very soon. Does he get a second dash only if he autos a Shaper?
Nope, he can auto anyone. So a lot of times what you'll see is you're chasing a target. They're out of range because they use high mobility or they're faster than you or whatever. You actually just basic attack a minion super fast and then boom, dash again, get your increased move speed and then catch back up.
How does Creation work with his Rage?
Creation will work with his Rage, so anytime that a character is healed, Creation will increase that healing, so to give him that extra 30%. So it's pretty strong. It'll actually make the burst healing on Heartstrike very, very good.
He just killed my Poro. I'm sad.
Yeah.
Hint on skin theme.
What's that?
Someone said hint on the skin.
We'll have a skin. You'll see it.
It's a secret.
Secrets.
You'll see it soon.
Yep.
Does his W hit bindings?
It does not. So it does not increase the damage on that. It also will not reset the reset his W. So you need to attack a squishy target. Core's bindings and the Guardian will not reset it.
Is that the God Tier Mara player?
There
That
he
is
is.
Matt Walsh. That's him. He's now internet famous with his new Vine video. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's very funny.
Yep. Pred Hunter changes in this patch? Nope. But like I know that we've said several times, we are testing a lot of changes internally to the roles, as well as a relatively large update to the mode. I know that Gassie's teased, so that will hopefully be coming soon, but it's a lot of changes, so it needs a lot of testing.
Will he release with the VO?
Viridian skin name teaser? Henchman. Henchman Viridian.
Such cheese.
Such tease. All right, now only laments. He'll be like, oh, I know. Everyone else will,
We'll be all very confused.
Right.
Viridian suppressed. Can you do it while he's using his ult? He is unmovable.
Sorry, suppress. Can you do it to Viridian while using his ultimate? No, you cannot. It will fizzle. Same thing with Moya and Kel.
Does he auto attack automatically if he's near a target after he dashes?
Yes. So the closest, just like any other dash in the game, the closest target that you have, you'll basic attack once you get to that position. You can press S if you'd like to cancel it, or right click a target to do it faster. He will not you know, he won't override your action. So if you dash and just hold move, you'll move and not basic attack.
Well, you make a good Predator once it's reworked. Without AoE, it seems hard to clear Spirit Wells as Viridian.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you'd be really, really banking on the kills. Remember that the Spirit Well worker kills are meant to, you know, fill the downtime as well as, oh god, I can't get kills with it because they're playing against me, so I need to kill those things. He's going to be slow with that because he doesn't have AoE clear. So he might be okay, but you'd have to be really pushing the kills.
Will Mina stay on him when he ults?
Yes, she will.
Mina just basically follows everyone everywhere. Like, Dibs will drag her along for a
except
flight.
for Moya. Moya's the only one. If Moya ults or you get ulted by a Moya, she'll actually fall off the target.
Moya basically goes off into space, so...
Right, yeah. Mina can't breathe in space. Only otters.
Only otters are allowed there.
Right.
Where's Fenmore? Where's Fenmore? I don't know where's Fenmore.
You guys read that picture today? There he is. He's at that camp. Hunter was telling me he was making s'mores, and then the one was talking to him. So, you know, it's cool. That's where he's at.
What if Viridian and Moya ult each other at the same time? I'm pretty sure they both fizzle.
They will both go through each other, just like we did with the Viridians. Both immune, but they'll both hit the next targets.
Is he part of the 9?
He is not.
Nope.
Not now.
Maybe.
Who knows in the future?
Someday. Why isn't Momentum a recommended item on him?
Why isn't Momentum a recommended item on him? It'd be a decent defensive item. Let's see, what did we have in the spot there? It said Subjugation, which is the dueling item, and then we had a Defiance, which allows them to kind of get around that. It would not be bad. I would not... it would depend on kind of the matchup. Totally a good item on him, but I would not put it on recommended necessarily. It might not be super useful.
Yep. Trying to find Viridian questions.
Is Dibs the one? Oh, that's not a Viridian question. Okay, I'm sorry.
You can answer that anyway.
Well, it's funny because we were thinking about this recently. Dibs, the character, you know, he's got the lore for the carrot skin. If you read that, he literally just was like, I wanted to be a carrot. I did it. Like, there's like a Marvel equivalent of this where it's like, Dibs is actually the most powerful of all shapers, but he's like so innocent and naive that he's like, but he could be like, I could become the Lord of Terror and just like destroy all the Dongate. Because
Dibs versus the world.
It's just dreams. So maybe Dibs is the one. I don't know.
Dibs is basically a god. Why does this picture show him using dual blades?
So that's what, I guess if you look very closely when he's in after he uses W and he's dashing, he actually breaks his blades apart and he has them in both hands. And then he has like a new auto attack animation as well as the double stab animation when he does his, empowered basic after using Surge.
What happens if you ult a Dibs that's ulting? You will drag him out of the fly.
Absolutely. Just like any other CC, if you pop him with a root knock-up or forced movement, you will stop his ult.
When do you think you'll start adding passives to shapers who don't have one?
So, it's something that I want to do soon. The only thing that's delaying it is, well, so coming off of Mina and Kensu, both of those were pretty hard developments because they're both very intense as far as number of effects as well as like new stuff and all those things. So we're coming off of that. We're starting to get back to a more normal cycle without like two back-to-back shapers that are crazy like that are not good for development. So now that I'm starting to free up some time, get back to the passives. What I want to do is start adding 1 to 2 per patch, but again, it will have to come along as soon as I can.
Well, using W allow you to use other skills without sending W on cooldown. So if you like W and then like you Q and then you can still W, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You can W QEQ and then W again if you want to. If you weren't able to get your QEQ combo off, without closing the distance, you could totally do that. I think it has about a 4-second recast window, so the same duration that he has that increased move speed. As soon as you get a basic, you'll have that time to recast.
Is the ultimate a suppression, or where does it rank on like the CCs?
It is not a suppression. It is a forced movement. So I think the only other forced movement we have in the game is Petrus and also Cerulean's E. Koggin is just a pull. You can dispel Koggin's ult.
Does W proc with E?
No, it does not.
No.
So the E is not a basic. So you'll still need to do a basic attack to get that W proc off. The E only does the base physical damage plus scaling plus another number amount based on how much rage you have, up to a certain amount.
So are Viridian and Freya in separate groups, even though they're both physical assassins?
So that's interesting. God, I totally forgot. So we originally were considering Freya a melee carry, and we found that nomenclature was a little bit confusing for new players, and we wanted to you know, she doesn't play like Mikella or Nisa, obviously. So we put her into the category of assassin, but she plays still differently than all the others. She also scales differently all the others. She scales her basic attacks at a 1-0, I believe, as well as much faster on the basic attack speed. So she still plays like a physical carry for the characters, the people that are like, you know, it's kind of inside baseball, but he's the ability assassin, so he's going to be doing tons of ability damage. He has those 2 basic attack resets, but it's all about landing the QEQ and then using his abilities, rather than Freya, who's all about sustained damage with her ultimate. You know, put the ultimate up, her attack speed increases greatly. She gets that execution steroid, but it's all about using the basics effectively. So they're both physical assassins, but they play differently.
Yep. No, you cannot dispel the ultimate. You can, however, blitz it. If you use your ultimate on Mina, can she jump into someone and avoid the damage and the knockback?
No. Well, if you W before Viridian hits you, yes, he'll pass through a ghost of Mina as she's jumping with her W. But if you hit it before, she cannot use her W while being translated. So as she's moving with Viridian, she can't use it. As soon as she lands, she'll have already taken the damage and gotten pushed, but then she could W away, presumably from his murder.
All right, let's go off. Finish this off like 1 or 2 more questions.
Yep.
There's not many questions.
Does his ult hit multiple people in front of him, or is it just applied to one shaper? Nope. The first target that it hits by kind of the middle nose of the whale will get impaled. They'll take damage and they'll get pushed. Literally everyone else, even if they're hit in the center, will just get pushed away. So it can only hit a single character with the damage and the push. Everyone else just gets a slight knockback.
Can his Q targeting be dispelled?
It cannot. It's not a debuff.
Okay.
So it's just, I mean, it's really a different way. People kind of, there's a perception difference about it, but it's really just a targeted ability that he visualizes a little bit differently. But just like anyone else who is going to click on you and throw a knife, it's just like a targeted ability.
How about can you dispel the extra damage?
You can. Yes.
That might be good against him.
It would definitely be good against him.
All right. I think that's going to end it up for today. So thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoy Viridian. He will be coming out soon. Soon. Hopefully.
Yes.
Soon. And, yep, that's all. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Do-do-do.
Who's next?
Victory is in our grasp.
They go no further.
Put them in the ground. Eat this.